The white bandage wrapped around her neck should have been invisible to him, just another detail in the background of his empire. But when Sarah Williams flinched away from his voice, something primal and protective awakened in Kim Tae-hyun. He'd ordered executions for far less than the terror he glimpsed in her warm brown eyes. "Who did this to you?" His voice carried the same deadly calm he used before passing death sentences. Sarah's fingers trembled as they rose to adjust the gauze-covering purple fingerprints on her dark skin. "Nobody, Mr. Kim. I just burned myself cooking." Tae-hyun stepped closer, and she instinctively retreated. That single movement, that automatic fear, ignited something in him that had nothing to do with the criminal empire he'd built through blood and strategy. For the first time in 12 years of ruling Los Angeles's Korean underworld, Kim Tae-hyun felt completely powerless. "Don't lie to me," he whispered, and the world shifted between them. Sarah had been cooking for Kim Tae-hyun for 8 months without truly seeing him. He was a presence, expensive cologne, quiet footsteps through his Beverly Hills mansion, the lingering scent of danger that clung to rooms after he left. She knew the essentials. He paid triple the agency rate, never complained about her southern cooking, and demanded perfection. Perfection was Sarah's specialty. 26 years of making herself small had taught her how to move through wealthy spaces without leaving a trace. She quieted her voice around important people, perfected recipes that pleased without drawing attention, mastered the art of being essential while remaining unseen. Today that careful invisibility cracked. She'd wrapped the strangulation marks as best she could, medical tape from the corner store, her grandmother's remedy of ice and prayers. Her supervisor at Elite Culinary Services would terminate her contract if she appeared unprofessional. Malik needed new basketball shoes. The rent was due in 6 days. So Sarah went to work. The mansion was silent when she arrived at 10 a.m., her usual time. Tae-hyun was never home during meal prep, a small mercy she'd counted on. She moved through his state-of-the-art kitchen, preparing bulgogi and banchan that reminded him of Seoul, of his late mother's cooking. His empire, she'd heard the other staff whisper. Kim Tae-hyun owned half of Koreatown's legitimate businesses and all of its secrets. The restaurants were fronts. Everything else lived in shadows. Sarah didn't care about his business. She cared about the $800 weekly check that kept Malik in good schools. She was seasoning short ribs when she heard his car in the driveway. Her heart lurched. He was never home early. "You're still here." His voice came from the kitchen doorway, accented but precise, each word carefully chosen. Sarah turned slowly, angling her neck away. "I'm sorry, Mr. Kim. I'll finish quickly. Look at me." It wasn't a request. Kim Tae-hyun didn't make requests. She raised her eyes and watched his expression transform from distant politeness to laser focus. He crossed the kitchen in 3 strides, Italian leather silent on marble floors. Up close, he was devastating. Sharp cheekbones, dark eyes that missed nothing, black hair styled with casual perfection. His dress shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, revealing collarbones and the hint of intricate tattoos. "What happened to your neck?" His hand lifted toward her throat, then stopped, hovering, waiting for permission Sarah didn't know how to give. "I burned myself on the stove," she whispered. The lie tasted bitter. Tae-hyun's eyes narrowed. In 8 months she'd never heard him raise his voice, but the quiet in him now was more terrifying than any shout. "You burned yourself," he repeated, each syllable weighted with disbelief. "And the handprint bruises under that bandage?" He nodded toward the visible edges of purple fingerprints peeking from beneath the white gauze. Sarah pulled her sweater higher. "Mr. Kim, I should really finish the—" "Sit." "I can't. I have 2 more clients today, and—" I said sit. Softer this time, but no less absolute. She perched on the edge of his pristine bar stool, wrong in every way. Her discount store clothes, her second-hand shoes, her damaged neck in his perfect space. Tae-hyun stood before her, hands in his pockets, studying her with an intensity that made her skin warm. "Tell me his name." "There's no—" Sarah. The way he said her name, careful, like something precious, stopped her breath. He'd never used her name before. "I've built my empire on reading people. You're terrified. That bandage is fresh. Someone tried to strangle you, and recently." She stood abruptly. "With respect, Mr. Kim, my personal life isn't your concern. It became my concern the moment you walked into my home, injured. He stepped closer, and she smelled bergamot and something darker, whiskey, maybe smoke. Is it a boyfriend? No. Husband? No. Then who? Sarah met his eyes, saw genuine concern there mixed with something that looked like barely restrained violence. Why do you care? I'm just your cook. Something flickered across his face, surprise, maybe hurt. You think that's all you are, isn't it? Tae-hyun was quiet for a long moment. I notice everything in my domain, Sarah. 8 months ago, you started bringing fresh herbs from your own garden. You cook my mother's recipes better than she did, somehow making them taste like home and comfort simultaneously. Her throat tightened. She'd thought herself invisible. So sing while you cook, he continued. Gospel hymns your grandmother taught you because sometimes you whisper words about grace and mercy. You leave subtle notes about which banchan pairs best with each dish because you figured out I appreciate education with my meals. He tilted his head. You're not just my cook. You're the only authentic thing in this house. Sarah couldn't breathe. Mr. Kim. The name. Give me the name of who did this. I can't. Can't or won't. Both. She grabbed her knife roll. I should go. His hand caught her wrist, the uninjured one, gentle but firm. If you leave now, you're walking away from my protection. Whoever hurt you will do it again. Your protection? She almost laughed. You don't even know me. I know you have a son, 15 years old basketball player. I know you work 3 kitchens a day to afford his private school. I know you're stronger than anyone I've ever met, and I know... He stopped, jaw tight. I know I won't let anyone hurt you again. The front gate chimed. Tae-hyun's expression shifted instantly, concern vanishing behind cold authority. A young Korean man entered, bowing respectfully. Hyung-nim, we have a situation with the... The man stopped, seeing Sarah. Tae-hyun spoke rapid Korean, his tone dismissive. The man bowed and retreated. Sarah. Tae-hyun's voice drew her back. Stay. Have dinner with me. Tell me what happened. I can't. Why? Because you're Kim Tae-hyun. She gestured around the mansion. And I'm nobody. His hand lifted to her face, thumb ghosting over the edge of her bandage with devastating gentleness. You're wrong. You're the first person I've wanted to protect in 12 years. Sarah's phone buzzed. Malik's school. She pulled away. I have to go. She was out the door before Tae-hyun could respond, but she felt his eyes on her the entire drive home. Heavy, searching, impossibly dangerous. That night, lying in her small bed in their modest apartment, Sarah touched the bandage on her neck and wondered what it meant that Kim Tae-hyun had looked at her like she mattered. 3 days passed. Sarah returned to the mansion on schedule, half expecting Tae-hyun to fire her or worse, demand answers she couldn't give. Instead, she found him sitting at his dining table, paperwork spread before him, waiting. You came. He sounded relieved. It's my job. It's Wednesday at 10 a.m. He gestured to the chair beside him. Sit with me. Mr. Kim, please. The word unraveled her. Sarah set down her supplies and sat, keeping careful distance. Tae-hyun pushed a cup of tea toward her, expensive Korean tea, fragrant and steaming. I had my people make inquiries, he said quietly. Sarah's blood went cold. What? About you? About who might want to hurt you? He held up a hand before she could protest. I was discreet. But Sarah, if someone's threatening you, I can... No. She stood. You can't do whatever you're thinking. This isn't your world to fix. Then whose world is it? Yours? His eyes flashed. You're working 3 jobs to survive. Someone put their hands around your throat. That makes it my world now. Why? She demanded. Why do you care? Tae-hyun stood, rounding the table until they were face to face. Because when I look at you, I don't see a cook. I see someone who brings warmth into this tomb I've built. I see someone who sings like she still believes in grace, despite everything trying to destroy it. You don't know anything about me. Then tell me. His hand lifted to her neck again, that same hovering gesture, seeking permission. Tell me everything. This time Sarah didn't pull away. His fingers brushed her skin, feather-light, tracing the edge of the bandage. The touch was so gentle it hurt more than the original assault. His name is Darius, she heard herself whisper. My ex. Malik's father. He left when I got pregnant, came back last month demanding money, said I owed him for his investment in a kid he never wanted. Taehyun's hand stilled. Where is he now? I don't know. He got angry when I refused, said I was getting too comfortable in my fancy job, said someone needed to remind me of my place. Did he threaten your son? The protective fury in his voice made her look up. Taehyun's face was carved from stone, but his eyes burned. He implied things, Sarah admitted, about knowing where Malik plays basketball, about how accidents happen to young men in this city. Taehyun's jaw clenched. He pulled out his phone, typed rapidly in Korean, then pocketed it. That threat ends today. What are you? I'm handling it. Darius will forget you exist. You can't just... Sarah grabbed his arm. Taehyun, whatever you're thinking, don't. I won't have blood on my hands. There won't be blood. There will be a conversation. His hand covered hers. Sarah, men like Darius understand one language. I speak it fluently. I don't want your help. Too bad. You have it anyway. He pulled her closer, and suddenly they were breathing the same air, occupying the same impossible space. I'm done pretending you're invisible. I'm done pretending I don't count the hours until Wednesday mornings. Her heart hammered. This is insane. You're you and you're the woman I think about when I should be thinking about business. You're the reason I started coming home early on Wednesdays. His thumb stroked over her knuckles. You're the only honest thing in my life. You barely know me. Then let me know you. He bent slightly, bringing their faces level. Have dinner with me. Real dinner, not me interrupting your work. I have Malik. Bring him. Sarah blinked. You want to meet my son? I want to meet everyone who matters to you. I want to understand what makes you sing those hymns. He stopped, something vulnerable crossing his features. I want to matter to you, the way you've started to matter to me. The gate chimed. Taehyun cursed in Korean but didn't step back. Another man entered, speaking urgently. Taehyun responded with sharp words that made the man pale and retreat immediately. I have to handle something, Taehyun said, turning back to Sarah. But tomorrow night, dinner, my restaurant in Koreatown, Hangang, 7 o'clock, I'll send a car. Taehyun, I can't afford. You're not paying. You're my guest. He lifted her hand to his lips, pressed a kiss to her knuckles that sent electricity through her entire body. Say yes, Sarah. Let me show you what it feels like to be cherished. She should say no, should maintain the careful distance between their worlds, should protect herself and Malik from the dangerous orbit of Kim Taehyun. But when he looked at her like she was rare and precious, when his touch made her feel valued instead of invisible, when his voice wrapped around her name like a promise. Yes, she whispered. Taehyun's smile transformed his face, made him look younger, almost boyish. Tomorrow, then. He was gone before she could change her mind, leaving her standing in his perfect kitchen, hand still tingling from his kiss, heart racing with equal parts terror and anticipation. That night, Malik asked why his mother was humming while doing laundry. Sarah told him they were going to dinner at a fancy restaurant. She didn't mention the man with dangerous eyes who'd somehow seen through her invisibility and decided she was worth protecting. She didn't mention that every instinct screamed this would end in heartbreak. She especially didn't mention that, for the first time in 15 years, heartbreak seemed like a risk worth taking. Hangang occupied a corner in Koreatown that whispered old money and older secrets. Sarah stood outside with Malik, both wearing their Sunday best, which still looked modest against the restaurant's elegant facade. Mom, are you sure we belong here? Malik tugged at his tie, the only one he owned, bought for last year's homecoming dance. We were invited, baby. Sarah squeezed her son's hand, fighting her own doubts. The door opened before they could knock. A hostess in traditional hanbok bowed. Ms. Williams, Sajangnim is waiting. They were led through the main dining room, all subtle lighting and wealthy patrons, to a private room in the back. Taehyun stood when they entered, and Sarah's breath caught. He wore black slacks and a white shirt with sleeves rolled up, revealing muscled forearms and the edge of intricate tattoos. Casual elegance that probably cost more than her monthly salary. Sarah. His eyes swept over her, warm and appreciative. You look beautiful. She flushed, suddenly conscious of her dress, her only good one, purchased from a thrift store but carefully altered. You look beautiful, he repeated firmly, then turned to Malik. And you must be Malik. Your mom talks about you constantly. Malik's eyes went wide. She does? Constantly. She says you're the best point guard Lincoln High has ever seen. I'm pretty good, Malik admitted, straightening. You know basketball? I played in Seoul before I came here. Never made varsity, though. Taehyun's smile was genuine. Maybe you could teach me some of those American moves. And just like that, Malik was talking animatedly about crossovers and three-pointers, while Taehyun listened with apparent fascination. Sarah watched them, heart squeezing at how natural Taehyun was with her son. No condescension, no forced interest, just genuine engagement with a 15-year-old who rarely had positive male attention. Dinner was a revelation. Course after course of Korean dishes Sarah had only attempted to recreate, each explained patiently by Taehyun. He taught Malik how to properly use chopsticks, laughing when the teenager dropped bulgogi repeatedly. He told stories about growing up in Seoul, about his grandmother who taught him to appreciate good food and strong women. My Halmione would have liked you, he said to Sarah, refilling her tea. She always said the strongest people are those who protect others before themselves. I'm not that strong. You're raising an incredible young man alone. You work 3 jobs. You face down men who try to intimidate you. His eyes held hers. Sarah, you're the strongest person I know. Malik excused himself to the bathroom, leaving them alone for the first time all evening. The air shifted immediately, tension crackling. Thank you, Sarah said softly. For this, for being kind to Malik. I'm not being kind. I'm being honest. Taehyun leaned forward. He's incredible because you're incredible. Taehyun, I meant what I said yesterday. About wanting to know you, about you mattering. His hand found hers across the table. I know this is fast. I know our worlds don't make sense together. But Sarah, I haven't felt this alive in years. She should pull away. Instead, she turned her hand over, lacing their fingers together. I'm scared. Of me. Of what you make me feel. Of what happens when reality crashes back in. She met his eyes. You're Kim Taehyun. I've heard the stories. I know what you are. What am I? Dangerous. Powerful. Way out of my league. His thumb stroked her palm. You want to know what I see when I look at you? I see someone who makes me want to be better. Someone who makes me question every choice that led to this life. His voice dropped. Someone who makes me think maybe I could be more than what I've become. Taehyun! Malik burst back in, shattering the moment. But Taehyun didn't let go of her hand. And when Malik noticed, he grinned like he'd discovered a secret. They stayed for 2 more hours. Taehyun ordered dessert, pat bingsu that made Malik's eyes light up, and told more stories. He asked about Sarah's childhood in Alabama, listened to her talk about her grandmother's recipes, her dreams of maybe opening her own catering business someday. Not just catering, he said thoughtfully, a company that pays fair wages, that treats workers with respect. It's just a dream. Dreams become reality when someone believes in them hard enough. His eyes held a promise. I believe in yours. The drive home was in Taehyun's car, a sleek black Genesis driven by a silent bodyguard. Malik dozed against the window, full and happy. He likes you, Sarah murmured. Good, because I plan on being around a lot more. Taehyun shifted closer. If you'll let me. This is crazy. Maybe. His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing over where the bandage had been. The bruises were fading, yellow-green now instead of purple. But I'm done pretending I don't want this, want you. People will talk, your world and mine. My world is whatever I say it is. His voice turned fierce. And I say, you belong in it. The car stopped outside her apartment complex, a decent building in a neighborhood that made Taehyun's jaw tighten with concern. He walked them to the door despite her protests. Tomorrow, he said at her doorway. Come to the house, not to work, to see me. Taehyun. He kissed her then, soft and searching, a question more than a demand. Sarah's free hand fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, even as her mind screamed warnings. He tasted like possibility and danger, like everything she'd trained herself not to want. When they broke apart, his forehead rested against hers. Tomorrow, he repeated. Tomorrow, she agreed, and watched him disappear into the night, taking her common sense with him. Tomorrow came with chaos. Sarah was getting Malik ready for school when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Miss Williams?" A woman's voice, professional and cold. "This is Detective Martinez, LAPD. We need to talk about Darius Thompson." Sarah's blood froze. "What about him?" "He's filed a complaint alleging harassment and intimidation from parties connected to you. He claims you've made false accusations about domestic violence." The floor tilted. She told Tae-hyun about Darius. Tae-hyun had made calls. Oh God, what had he done? "We need you to come to the station today." Sarah dropped Malik at school and went straight to the mansion, bypassing her usual schedule. Tae-hyun answered the door in workout clothes, sweaty and gorgeous and completely unconcerned. "Sarah, I wasn't expecting—" He stopped, seeing her face. "What's wrong? What did you do?" Her voice shook. "The police called. Darius is claiming harassment." "What did you do?" Tae-hyun's expression shuttered. "I had a conversation with him as promised." "What kind of conversation? Because now he's lying to the police about me. And he's lying because I made sure he understood what happens if he comes near you again." Tae-hyun approached carefully. "The harassment claim won't stick. I have people who—" "You have people." Sarah stepped back. "Tae-hyun, I can't be involved in whatever you did. I have Malik. If Child Services thinks I'm connected to—" She couldn't breathe. "I could lose him." Understanding dawned on his face. "Sarah, no, that won't happen. I made sure—" "You made sure." Her voice rose. "You don't get to make sure of anything in my life. You don't get to fix my problems with whatever criminal connections you have. I was protecting you. I didn't ask for your protection. I asked—" She stopped, realizing the truth. "I never asked for anything. You just took over like I'm some damsel who needs saving by the big, strong crime boss." Tae-hyun flinched. "That's not what this is." "No? Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, you're playing white knight, while I'm the one who'll face the consequences." She laughed bitterly. "Except neither of us is white, which makes this even more complicated, because you have money and power, and I have—" "You have me," he said fiercely. "You have my protection, my resources, my—" "I don't want them!" The words exploded out of her. "I want my simple life where I know the rules, where I cook meals and raise my son and stay safe, because safe is predictable." "Safe is slowly dying." Tae-hyun grabbed her shoulders. "You think I don't see what that life costs you? You're drowning, Sarah. I'm trying to throw you a rope." "I don't want your rope. I want—" Her voice cracked. "I want to not be terrified that loving you will destroy everything I've built." The room went silent. Sarah realized what she'd said, watched Tae-hyun's face transform. "You love me," he whispered. She tried to take it back, couldn't. "It doesn't matter. It's the only thing that matters." He pulled her close, and she went despite everything, burrowing into his chest like she could hide from the world there. "Sarah, I will fix this. The police thing, it'll disappear. Darius will never bother you again. I swear on everything I am. That's what I'm afraid of." Her voice was muffled against his shirt. "Everything you are includes things I can't be part of." His arms tightened. "Then I'll change. You can't change what you are, Tae-hyun. You're Kim Tae-hyun, leader of whatever organization you run. You have responsibilities, people depending on you, a whole world I don't understand. So, help me understand yours. Let me in completely, let me—" Her phone rang. The detective again. Sarah pulled away to answer, and Tae-hyun's expression hardened at whatever he heard in her voice. When she hung up, he was already making calls in Korean, his tone sharp and commanding. Within 30 minutes he had a lawyer on the way to the police station, someone to pick up Malik from school if needed, and apparently Darius's complaint in the process of vanishing. "It's handled," he said finally. Sarah stared at him. This man who could reshape reality with a few phone calls, who looked at her like she was precious, who'd somehow become essential to her happiness in just a few weeks. "I need time," she said quietly. "To think, to figure out if I can do this." Pain flashed across his face. "How much time?" "I don't know." "Sarah, please." She was already backing toward the door. "Just, please." She left him standing in his perfect foyer, looking lost for the first time since she'd met him. The ride home felt like falling, and Sarah wondered if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life, or if the biggest mistake was falling in love with Kim Tae-hyun in the first place. 4 days of silence. Tae-hyun didn't call, didn't text, gave her the space she'd asked for. Sarah should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt hollow. She went through motions. Work, Malik, sleep, repeat. Darius's complaint had indeed vanished, like Tae-hyun promised. She should have been grateful. She was mostly terrified of how easily he'd made her problem disappear. On the 5th day, Malik asked why they weren't seeing Mr. Kim anymore. "It's complicated, baby. Do you miss him?" "Yes." No point lying to her too perceptive son. "Then why don't we see him?" Malik's eyes, too old for 15, studied her. "Is it because he's rich and we're not?" Sarah's heart broke. "It's because his life is very different from ours. He made you happy, Mom. You don't smile much anymore." Malik sat beside her on their second-hand couch. "I liked when you smiled." That night Sarah couldn't sleep. She kept replaying moments, Tae-hyun's hand on her neck, his fierce protectiveness, the way he'd listened to Malik talk about basketball like her son's words mattered, the way he'd kissed her like she was everything. Her phone buzzed at 2 a.m. "I miss you. Tell me how to fix this." She stared at the message, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Tell him it's impossible. Tell him they're from different worlds. Tell him she's not strong enough for his life. Tell him she loves him anyway. Before she could respond, someone pounded on her door. Sarah's heart seized. Late-night knocks were never good. She grabbed her phone, ready to call 911, and peered through the peephole. Tae-hyun stood there in rumpled clothes, hair disheveled, looking nothing like the controlled crime boss and everything like a desperate man. She opened the door. "What are you—" "I can't do this." He pushed inside, pacing her small living room like a caged animal. "4 days, Sarah. 4 days of pretending I can function without you. I can't." "Tae-hyun, it's 2 a.m. Malik's sleeping." "I'll be quiet." He wasn't quiet. "I've spent 12 years building an empire, 12 years making myself untouchable. Then you walk into my life singing gospel hymns and seasoning my food with love, and suddenly everything I built feels empty. You barely know me." "I know everything that matters. I know you sacrifice so your son can have better. I know you see good in people even when they don't deserve it. I know you think you're invisible, but Sarah—" He crossed to her in 2 strides, cupping her face in both hands. "You're the most visible thing in my world. When you're not there, everything goes gray." Tears burned her eyes. "I'm scared. So am I." His forehead touched hers. "Terrified. Because you've become my weakness, and in my world, weakness gets you killed. But I don't care anymore. I'd rather die vulnerable with you than live safe and alone. Your world can adjust, will adjust." His grip tightened. "I don't care what people think, what complications arise. If anyone has a problem with you, they have a problem with me, and problems with me—" His voice turned to ice. "Don't last long. That's what terrifies me. The casual way you talk about violence, the way you can make people disappear with a phone call. Would you rather I let Darius hurt you, let anyone hurt you?" His voice cracked. "I won't apologize for protecting what's mine. I'm not yours, aren't you?" He pulled back to look at her, and his eyes held everything. Desperation, hope, love. "Because I'm completely yours. Every dark, broken part of me belongs to you now. And I know that's not fair. I know I'm dragging you into something complicated, but Sarah—" His voice broke. "I can't lose you. I won't survive it. Tae-hyun, I love you." The words hung between them, raw and honest. "I love that you're strong and stubborn. I love that you make me want to be better. I love how you love your son. I love your terrible thrift store clothes and your off-key humming and the way you arrange banchan like art." "They look better that way," she whispered, crying now. "They do." He wiped her tears with his thumbs. "Everything looks better when you're in it. My house, my life, me." A shaky breath. "Let me love you. Let me take care of you and Malik. Let me be the man you make me want to be. What if it's not enough? What if the difference is between us? Then we'll fight for it together." He kissed her, soft and pleading. "I'll leave my world if you ask. No." She pulled back. "I won't ask you to give up who you are." "Then what do you want?" Sarah looked at this powerful man reduced to vulnerability in her cheap apartment, asking her to save him the way he'd tried to save her. She thought about Malik asking why she didn't smile, about how invisible she'd felt before Tae-hyun looked at her like she was real, about how love was always a risk, but some risks were worth taking. "I want you," she whispered. "All of you, even the complicated parts, even the scary parts." She grabbed his shirt, pulled him closer. "I want you to teach me Korean. I want to learn about your world while you learn about mine. I want—" He kissed her then, deep and claiming, lifting her off the ground as she wrapped around him. They broke apart, breathless. "I want you to meet my grandmother in Alabama. I want Malik to have a father figure who shows up. I want to wake up next to you and not feel like I'm trespassing in your life. You're not trespassing. You're home." He set her down gently. "My house is home now because you're in it. I'm home because you see me. Taehyun, marry me." Sarah froze. "What?" "Not now, not tomorrow, but eventually. Marry me and let me spend my life proving you're the best decision I ever made." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "Let me love you and Malik, let me be yours." "You're insane." "About you?" "Absolutely." He smiled against her mouth. "Say maybe. Give me maybe. Maybe." She laughed through tears. "You're absolutely insane and way too intense and yours." His voice turned fierce, protective. "Nobody touches what's mine. You're mine now, Sarah, and I'm yours. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me." She pulled him down for another kiss, surrendering to the impossible, terrifying, perfect reality of loving Kim Tae-hyun. A small voice interrupted. "Mom, why is Mr. Kim here?" They broke apart, to find Malik in his doorway, sleepy and curious, but not upset. Tae-hyun immediately stepped back respectfully. "I came to ask your mom something important, but I should ask you too." He looked at Malik seriously. "Would it be okay if I spent more time with you and your mom? If I became part of your family?" Malik studied him with 15-year-old seriousness. "Will you make Mom smile again? Every single day? Will you come to my games? And teach me Korean curse words?" Sarah opened her mouth to protest, but Taehyun grinned. "The games, yes. The curse words we'll negotiate." Malik hesitated. "Will you stay? My dad left. People always leave." Taehyun's expression softened. "I'm not leaving. Not ever. I promise you both." He looked between them. "You're my family now, and I protect my family." Malik crossed the room and hugged him, quick and awkward but genuine. Taehyun stood carefully, reaching for Sarah with his free arm. They stood there, the crime boss, the cook, and the teenager, forming something new and fragile and impossibly strong. "I love you," Sarah whispered against Taehyun's shoulder. "I love you both," he whispered back. "My whole world." And for the first time in 15 years, Sarah felt completely, utterly, perfectly seen. Epilogue. 2 years later, Sarah stood in their kitchen now, preparing dinner. Not the mansion's sterile space, but the warm heart of the new house they'd chosen together. Close enough to Malik's school, far enough from Taehyun's business. She still cooked for him every day, but now it was love, not obligation. Taehyun watched from the doorway, coffee in hand, looking at her like she was everything. "You're staring," she said without turning. "Can't help it. You're beautiful when you're concentrating." She turned, smiled. His shirt hung open, revealing the tattoos that now included her name in Korean characters over his heart. She wore his Columbia University sweatshirt, the one Malik had chosen when he'd gotten his scholarship. "Malik called," Sarah said. "He made Dean's List again." "Of course he did. He's brilliant." Taehyun crossed to her, pulled her close. Like his mother. Her catering company had flourished with Taehyun's backing and her vision. Fair wages, healthcare benefits, a model other companies now copied. She ran it herself, but he'd been there for every milestone. A knock interrupted them. Taehyun tensed automatically, old habits, but relaxed when familiar voices called out. His brothers, now uncles to Malik. Sarah's grandmother visiting from Alabama with enough soul food to feed an army. Malik himself, home from college with friends in tow. Their house filled with Korean and English, with laughter and love, and the collision of worlds that had somehow formed something new. Taehyun had stepped back from the organization, gone mostly legitimate with the restaurants. The transition had been rough, but Sarah had been there through all of it. That night, after everyone left, Taehyun found her on their deck overlooking the city. "Regrets?" he asked, wrapping arms around her from behind. "Never." She leaned into him. "You?" "Only that I didn't notice that bandage on your neck sooner. that I wasted 8 months seeing you without really seeing you. Sarah turned in his arms. You see me now. Every day, for the rest of my life. He kissed her softly. My beautiful, strong, impossible wife. Your stubborn, hymn-singing, banchan-arranging wife, she corrected. Mine, he agreed. Completely, perfectly mine. And in the city that had once made her feel invisible, Sarah Williams, Kim, had never felt more seen, more loved, more home.